Bench has always been the worst of my 3 compound lifts.
Let's go!
And for the longest time, I hid behind the excuse that, oh, it's harder to bench as a tall guy. And while biomechanically that may be true due to longer arms, it's not an excuse to hide behind to cover up your poor work ethic. So let me show you how I went from a 185-pound bench
Push! Come on! Yes, sir! Oh, glory to God, give me that!
to a 365-pound bench at 210 pounds body weight. Now, before I even get into the nitty-gritty of technique stuff, I want to get into bench frequency. Now, bench is the compound lift that actually benefits from doing more often. Squats and deadlifts can be very taxing, but bench is very easy to recover from if you are careful with your loading. And so there's a saying, if you bench once a week, bench twice. If you bench twice a week, bench 3 times a week. And then anything beyond 3 to 4 times a week is a little bit of a gray area and is more specific to individual athletes. But the majority of people will benefit from increasing their bench sessions by 1 more each week. So with that being said, I bench 3 times a week, and I'm going to show you how I manage load on individual bench days. So the following clip is 340 pounds for a top single on my primary bench day. Low rep ranges are ideal for strength, so I would recommend working with a single, double, or a triple for your primary bench top set, and you're going to want to progress that each week while managing fatigue. So I train in block phases, and each block is 4 weeks long. So how I'm running this singles block currently is that 340 pounds you just saw was my week 1 single. And my goal is going to be to add 10 pounds to that in week 2. So then take 350 and then 360 week 3. And my goal is going to be to beat my PR or match that 365 in week 4. As fun as it is to train heavy all the time, unfortunately your body's central nervous system starts to take a toll after a while and will actually cause you to plateau. And so that's why fatigue management is so incredibly important. So in order to help you understand how to pick a weight, we're gonna have to understand the term RPE, rate of perceived exertion. So essentially powerlifters use this in our training to help identify how intense the lift was. So if 330 pounds for 1 rep was at RPE 7, that would mean theoretically I could have done it for 4 reps total and I had 3 in reserve. So if something's at RPE 8, then that means theoretically I could do it for 3 and then there's 2 in reserve, and so on and so on. And that's how we judge the difficulty of said weight. So to figure out what to do for your week 1 top set, I've left an RPE calculator down below in the description. And essentially what you'll do is you'll plug in your 1 rep max and it'll do the calculations relative to RPE. The ideal RPE for a week 1 bench is probably around 6 to 7. And you want to end ideally around a 9. You don't want to push to an RPE 10 too many times in week 4, but for bench, it is one of the more acceptable lifts to push intensity with.
And following the top set, you will obviously do back down work as well, because this is where the real strength is made with volume work. 3 sets of 5 is perfect. And we're gonna follow that same ideology. Something easy week 1, and you're gonna want to progress that throughout the block in week 4.
Grip is personal preference, and different people will bench better with a closer grip, a middle grip, or a wide grip. What feels perfect for me is my middle finger on the smooth ring. And so you'll see I dig my scapula into the bench to establish my arch, and before unracking the weight, I will plant my heels on the ground. Now I have 3 points of contact: my feet, my back, and my head. And only now that the weight is over my chest do I set my butt down. If I were to set my butt down on the bench before unracking, I would lose all of the tension that I worked so hard to establish in order to maintain proper leg drive. And leg drive for the longest time never clicked with me until a few months ago. The idea is that you are pushing yourself across the bench like you're sliding, not doing a hip thrust. Getting consistent with these technique changes is what has exploded my bench, combined with pushing my accessories, which I will go through now. Powerlifters can be notorious for being lazy and skipping accessories, but what separates a great powerlifter from a mediocre powerlifter is actually pushing accessories. And yes, we are still going to follow fatigue management with our accessories, but they are way easier to recover from than compound lifts. And for a year straight, my bench was stuck at 315 because of poor programming and not pushing my upper body accessories. So here are the accessories that have helped the most in recent months to explode my bench. Pushing a heavy incline press. This can be dumbbell or plate loaded. I love the plate loaded. I've gotten it up to 5 plates, and I was able to do that for a heavy 2x5. But again, that 5 plate 2x5 was my week 4. Then we get into more hypertrophy work, which you'll see me doing cable flies for 3 sets of 10 because it allows me to get a very deep stretch. And something you would never think of is the fact that having a bigger back will actually help you bench more. And no, I don't mean big back as in fat, I mean big back as in bigger lats, latissimus dorsi. Having larger lats gives you a better foundation to bench off of, allows you to dig your scapula into the bench better, and is overall just awesome. I mean, lats are like the coolest muscle group. And so I have found what works best for me is doing chest and back as my accessories on the same day as my primary bench. So for back, I will do a heavy row sort of movement. Here I am doing a low row seated. And again, because this is sort of my back compound for the exercise, I'm not going to be going above 10 reps. I'm going to be working within the 6 to 8 rep range. And then same as chest, we'll be going over to one more back exercise. Lat pullovers, I'll do 3 sets of 10 with this to do more volume, get more blood flow. I think these combinations of one high rep exercise and one low rep exercise works perfect for power building. And again, you're not a bodybuilder. It's fun to hit accessories, it's fun to get a pump, but we want quality accessory work that's going to aid us in our compounds, not take away from it. And I've found that 2 quality exercises for chest and back movements is what works best for me. So this video covers the complete primary bench day from top sets, back downs, and accessory work. Sorry, if you heard my roommates in the back. Anyways, there's a lot more I could go into regarding tertiary days, secondary days, and other accessories for other muscle groups that will correlate to increasing your bench. So I will be making another bench video in the future, but for now, this is the complete primary bench guide. Now, I know that was a lot and it may be overwhelming initially, but if you find yourself with a desire to get into powerlifting or to increase your compounds and you don't know where to start, I would love to help you out. I do online coaching. My link will be down in the description, and I would love to take away the hassle and the stress of programming and do it all for you while making it fun and enjoyable. So link is in the description. Fill a few questions out and let's get to work.